Welcome to New Jersey Cigar and Whiskey, and today we're going to talk about oak barrels. So this is an oak barrel I got for Christmas, and I didn't share with you how I cured it. I didn't record it. I'm really sorry, but I can tell you what we did. We filled it up with water. We had to fill it up with water several times over the course of a couple weeks in order to get the oak barrel to expand and interlock so that it doesn't leak. That's why we have it in this glass dish. And what we're going to do now is we're going to walk over to the sink. We're going to empty it out. This oak barrel has a bung. It goes into the bung hole. Insert chokes there. And it has a tap. So we're going to come over here and we're going to empty it out. Now you can try and do it just by using the tap, but you can also just dump it out, and you can see the water is relatively clear. Now, some of you might be wondering why I left water in for so long. The important thing with barrels is once you cure them, you can't ever let them be empty again. Alright, so now we have some wax. This is barrel wax. If you can see here, we've had some problems with leakage. And so that's a bad thing. So we're going to try and cure that by applying some of this barrel wax. I'm going to rub it into the seams. Now, some of you may know that N&J Whiskey and Cigar and Whiskey. The N&J doesn't necessarily stand for New Jersey. It also stands for Nick and Jim. Nick is asleep right now in our sun porch, and I would show you on camera, but she'd probably kill me. What do you think, Tim?
A little creepy, but...
So we won't. And Nick will make her debut. And another video. Okay, now we have a big bottle of Larceny. Larceny is an interesting whiskey. It's a bourbon. It's a classic bourbon. It's 92 proof, which means you cut that in half. That's about 46% alcohol by volume. It's a wheated bourbon. The story of John E. Fitzgerald is an interesting story. He actually was an ATF agent who was in charge of enforcing prohibition. So what he would do is he would go into whiskey makers and he would taste their wares, because certain whiskey makers were allowed to operate during prohibition for medicinal purposes. And what he would do is he would find the best whiskey, and then he would go back at night and then he would steal them. And he ended up being one of the major whiskey producers at the time, or actually whiskey sellers at the time. The bourbon itself is really good. It's a very inexpensive wheated bourbon. No age statement on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to age this ourselves. This barrel is a charred oak barrel, just like you would see at the whiskey warehouse. Now this oak barrels, we're starting to get to, oops. We can see some leakage already, which is not good. Oh, you know what the leakage is? Oh my God. It's the fun.
Professional.
Okay, so we filled our barrel. Our last step is to let it sit. So we're going to let this sit for a week. Now, because it's a wheated bourbon, I'm guessing by hyper-aging this. Hyper-aging means that you have a smaller barrel, so more alcohol is touching the charred surface. I'm guessing by hyper-aging this, we can turn this into something along the lines of an eagle rare, maybe something a little bit different, after a couple weeks. So we will check in as we progress. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on N&J Whiskey and Cigar.